Do you know what Gwaan is?
I am a big fan of Gwaan.
I live in the UK and I enjoy tuning to Gwaan.
You get to learn a new Jamaican patois word or even a Jamaican phrase.
I'm always looking forward for the great vibes, the great things. They discuss a lot of things that are going on in Calgary, across Canada, and of course Jamaica. So I encourage.
This is what is going on in Jamaica. But check out Gwaan. Watch Gwaan.
It's very interactive. You learn a lot, and great vibes, great music.
Watch Gwaan.
Relevant and entertaining, so keep up the good work.
Watch Gwaan.
Tune in, share, listen to Gwaan.
Watch Gwaan.
I look forward to the patois word of the day, feeding my nostalgic mood with flavor and spice. Only Jamaicans can do that.
Watch Gwaan.
Big up yourself. Gwaan 2022. Bless up.
Blessed. Yes. Gwaan, Pantapa Gwaan. Good evening, everybody. Again, this is your host with the most, your boy King Shadrach, all the way from Montreal, representing for the Gwaan crew tonight. See, I want to say tonight you have a beautiful show for you. If this is your first time, make sure you go over there and like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, and make sure you be a part of Gwaan. See, Gwaan. Make sure you become a part of Gwaan. I'm your host, and my name is King Shadrach, like I said, and I'm a reggae singer that is based here in Montreal. I've been singing reggae music for a while now, singing in and around the country. All right. Before I go no further, I would like to touch a little piece. I wanted to tune them, and it goes like this. This one is called Peace, Love, and Unity. All right, and it goes like this. I said, I'm talking to the world, not only my neighborhood. We want some unity and be united peacefully. Oh, I'm talking to the world and yeah, in my neighborhood. We want some unity and we need that peacefully. Oh, Lord, peace, love, and unity. We don't have to war for peace, yeah. Peace, love, and unity. We don't have to war for peace. Well, it's peace time now, so make the war cease. Let us come together, fight the disease. War machine, me say them getting obese. And just to feed them dirty Wall Street generation of vampire skin in them teeth. Or them sucking at the blood of the poor and the weak. Wolf in a sheep clothing and move discreet. They see the rest of them a wash up in a. I said, I'm talking to the world. Yeah, that one's called Peace, Love, and Unity. And that's one of my singles. And you can check it out online, stream it everywhere. The album is called Phoenix Rising. Since to go check out King Shadrach music because we do some conscious music and this is something what Jamaican people can enjoy. All right. So like I said, King Shadrach, go check out some of my music, kingshadrachmusic.com. Make it a date and don't be late. Also, you got to check out what's happening in regards to the community service in Montreal because I work very closely with the Jamaica Association, like I told you before, of Montreal. We work closely with the father program to deal with fathers with children that from marginalized family, okay? So this is the boy King Shadrach. Thank you for joining Gwaan today, and I'm your host. So today we're going to be talking about the patois word of the day, okay? And the patois word of the day, in case you never heard, it's called brata. That's the patois word of the day. Brata, the Jamaican word. So if anybody online who knows of this word, if you can make a sentence of this word, don't be afraid to write in and tell us. Let's see how you use this word in a sentence. Let's see if you know what it means. Show us right online to say what you think the word brata means, okay? Because that's a Jamaican word, and the word for the week, like I said, this week is brata. Look what I'm pronounce it, brata. And if you don't hear the first time, you're gonna get some more brata. All right. So that's a Jamaican word on the screen. Okay. Now, in March we celebrate our Women's Month. Okay, and March 8th was International Women's Day, and we've been spotlighting, showcasing some of our strong women in and around Canada. Very, very powerful information. We've been talking about how how it is being a black woman in Canada. So it's a respect to our queens. Like I said, this month we're going to be focusing on black woman and the way how they cope and how they function in this whole system. Okay, so we want to say good night again and thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you guys coming out one more time. If you haven't been here before, go follow us on Instagram over there. Go follow us on YouTube. Go like us on go follow us and like us on Facebook also. Okay, keep in touch with Gwaan because we have the information, we have the story. I tell you Gwaan in Canada, in and around for our diaspora. That's our thing. Okay, so today is March 11, 2022, and our topic today is challenges of being a black woman. Okay, March 11, 2022. Our topic today is challenges of being a black woman. Our guest today is Rachel Barrett-Dolcine. We will talk with Rachel later on in regards to her experiences. She will share that with us later. As I said before, please, we need your support. We need you guys to go over there and follow. Make sure you go over there and follow and Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, go on Instagram. We're Instagram Gwaan. Go on the website, Gwaan website, please. Go check out the website. You can see the rest of the team. You get some more information about Kingside Rock. Okay? Make sure you go check out the website. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Give us a like. Make a comment. Tell them that King Shadrach send you. All right? Okay, so make sure you let them know this. So if you missed last week's show, it was a beautiful show. You can go check out on our replay on the YouTube of Gwaan last week. It was absolutely beautiful show. I myself, I enjoyed, watching that show last week. It was being a part of it. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna say, stay tuned. Don't touch that dial, okay? Don't move and don't go nowhere. Stay with us. Make we tell you what I go on from what I go on. Now, we want to deal with some news from across. We got some news from across Canada, okay? First, we have the reopening of the Negro Bar in the Jamaica Association. That's the reopening of the Negro Bar at the Jamaica Association over there in Montreal. I want to say big up to the president of Jamaica Association, Mark Henry, and big up to Sharon. Enough respect, enough support for you. You guys have been supporting artists, local artists in and around the city. Make sure everybody go check it out. If you're in the Montreal area, go check out the Jamaica Association, especially over there in the Friday night time. Tell them, say me, send you. Then play domino over the Friday night time. So the bar is open, okay? So make it a date and don't be late. So go check it out, okay? Over there. So that's the reopening of the girl. And also we have the International Women's Day event, the Women Who Inspire Change. It's an awards and celebration show. It's got to be no other than this Sunday, March 13th from 2 to 3:30. Okay, go over there. Tell them, say, it's Gwaan. Send them to come. That's a JCA Women's Committee presents the Woman Recognizing Woman. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is their 22nd anniversary. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm very honored to see in this time women embracing and honoring women. So please go check it out. Make it a date and don't be late. That's March 13th, Sunday, and that's going to be from 2 to 3:30. All right. And also we have the JCWA monthly meeting, and that's on Saturday, March the 26th. Okay. And it's to meet, greet, and games. So make it a date and don't be late. General meeting is gonna be at 7. Okay. So please go check that out. That's a JCWA monthly meeting. That's on Saturday, March the 26th, 2022. Tell them, say, me, King Shadrach, say, come check it out. Okay. All right. And now, if you joined us last week, if you can remember, we tell you that we can have a chance to win free tickets, okay, to be a part of the Communicate with Confidence training program. And this training program begins on April 6th, 2022. So it is a 2 weeks program. If you go check it out, well, from here you can win tickets, okay? If you participate, if you add a comment on the Gwaan, if you explain the patois word of the day, or you share our group, you'll be entered to win a complimentary ticket, and this ticket is valued $297, okay, to this training program. And so don't worry, there's multiple entry accepted, okay? And all comments and shares made up to March 31st are eligible for an entry. So we're going to take your name, we're going to put it into a draw, and you're going to be eligible to be a part of this. So please make sure you can see here, you have stuff you can win. So help us out, add a comment on Gwaan, make a share, make a like, make a comment. Let us know that you're there watching us. We want to hear from you here on the Gwaan program. Okay? So just a recap of what's going on. Today we are at the challenges of being a Black woman, okay? And like I told you, we are speaking with Rachel Barrett-Dolcine tonight, okay? This should be a very interesting story tonight. I want to say thank you very much again for Donovan and the whole Gwaan crew for giving me an opportunity to be a host of this program. Okay, so let us talk about our regional feature. Okay, we're not, let me see, we have regional feature this week. Regional feature. Our regional feature this week is actually, we're gonna try if we talk about activities that go on in and around Montreal that I'm aware of. I myself going to be performing on the 25th of March in Montreal. It's a club called Balatou. If you are in the town, if you are in Montreal, come check out King Shadrach, who's going to be performing live with the band in downtown. We've been doing a lot of shows in and around Montreal, in and around Canada. So I want you to come check out the performance on the 25th of March if you are in and around my area. Okay? So without any further delay, we would like to talk to Mr. Donovan. Is Mr. Donovan there?
What's up, Mr. Shadrach?
Good night, sir. Good night,
sir. What's up, brother?
I'm all right. Just running in from the studio, directly from the studio. I'm recording studio. Jump on board and live, and I'm trying to get the bearings together. But we're gonna get it there.
So it go. How is life in Montreal?
Montreal is actually right now. We just left outside. It's actually started snowing again, getting colder. Getting a little bit cold over here, but you know, everything from the COVID cut down. Montreal people are touch road and they do road, so everything is good. You have to say.
That's the curfew. The lockdown lift, right?
A lockdown lift up, right? So everybody have touch road. And like if you are again in the Montreal area, go check out Jamaica Association again because the Negro Bar is open and it's a beautiful vibe over there, you know?
All right, sounds good. All right, well, I just want to talk to you because I have a reasoning here about the challenges of a black woman, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me come back and talk to you a
All
little
right, my
bit.
brother. All right.
All
Respect.
right. Greetings and thanks for being on Gwaan tonight as we continue our focus on our women. As March 8th was International Women's Day, and we're celebrating our women this month. And today I have another great guest to share her perspectives and experience. Rachel J. Dolcine, who is the CEO of Compass Consulting and Training, and also the owner of RJ Design, somebody who has a number of years of experience, a number of academic certifications behind her name. But maybe most importantly is that she has been recognized in Maryland for being part of Maryland's top 100 women, leading women in Maryland's future. She's a part of, or she was recognized as a very important professional under 40. Whole heap of things. She's also very, very involved in philanthropic and business activities. So she's the founder of the Joseph and Vera Douglas Family Foundation. She's on the board of directors of the Fostering Change Network. And what I like also was that she's a task force chair of the Jamaica Diaspora Task Force Action Network. So, she's involved in a lot of things. And as a black woman, I'm sure she can speak to some of the issues, some of the challenges. So it's my pleasure to bring, Rachel Dolcine onto us here at Gwaan. Rachel, greetings. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. Long day.
Long day. Oh,
But
yeah,
I'm
it's
good.
Eastern
Yeah.
time, right? Yeah.
Long day.
It's already after 9 o'clock on that part of the world. So thanks for
Yeah.
joining us.
Yeah.
As always, we have to test the Jamaican patois knowledge.
Oh boy.
Brata.
And I've had this used a lot in my family. So I think it means to give a little extra. Did you bring me a gift? Did you give me something on top of whatever?
A little extra.
A little extra. I've heard it a lot.
Right.
When they go shopping, or if someone brings something and it's almost like, so that's it.
With the extra there, right?
Right.
There you go. And for those who are watching, please, add it in the comment section. What do you know of Brata? Add it in a sentence. Make yourself eligible to win tickets to the NBR training session. But just participate. We're looking for participation. International Women's Month, International Women's Day was celebrated a couple of days ago. And, we still have a lot of these conversations about our women, our queens, and the things that are happening. You're in a number of spaces, and you have been recognized in a lot of ways. But maybe we should start this conversation is, what are some of the biggest challenges that still remain for our women?
Oh my goodness. Biggest challenges that still remain insinuate that the challenges have ever left. Oh my goodness, from equality and equity at work to access to healthcare to racism and navigating spaces that are mostly white to what else is there? To our reproductive organs, to gender-based violence. I mean, living in poverty. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think the challenges that face women, especially Black women now, I don't think they are necessarily any less than before. I think they look differently because as people, we've come a long way, we've evolved, but the basic challenges for women and women's rights still exist. Absolutely.
Do these challenges become amplified or become less important or have a different perspective on them when it comes from the eyes of a Black woman?
Oh, absolutely. So I think the perspective is absolutely different because the experiences we live are different than our counterparts. And this is a subject that I like to talk about a lot, and I've been talking about a lot lately as well, because I think it's so important for us as Black women to be able to communicate not only what those challenges are, but what we think are needed, what we think are some of the solutions to address some of these issues. So from our perspective, absolutely different. I'm going to give an example. Is that okay?
Sure.
So for me, we're a police family.
Mm-hmm.
So we are a Black family, Black police, living in what is happening now, what is happening now socially. And we're raising a Black son, right? And so we've had to navigate several different spaces the last 3-4 years. So not just trying to raise a Black child in the US, but policing and what that looks like, and a fight for accountability in police, transparency, but also we're a family that supports police, right? But my husband's also a Black man. So when the uniform comes off, he's still a Black man, right? So we still have those challenges. And so from my perspective and my experience lived, I have a unique perspective on the Black woman's experience. It's going to be different from my sister, who's also Black, but doesn't have the other piled on complexities that make her who she is, right? And so tonight, when we have the conversation, I definitely want to talk a lot from my own experience, a little generalization, because I want to honor and respect the experiences that my other Black sisters have had in their lives, and not to do too much generalizations about the Black experience, the Black woman's experience. And then there's some similarities in raising kids, in healthcare, in what we get paid, and trying to navigate having success academically and getting the same chances as counterparts. Stuff like that are the same, but we certainly have unique experiences as well.
Right. And just for those who are watching, Rachel is the author of 2 books that speak to some of this. One of the books is about her son, Conversations with My Son, Fun and Witty Inspiration for Mothers Raising Boys.
Yes.
And her second book is about Love Behind the Blue Line, Stories of Love, Courage, Hope, and Legacy. Let's dive into that just a little bit later, right? To talk about getting that expression out there so others, especially Black women facing challenges, can understand a few pieces of your journey and how that can influence theirs.
So, the first book I wrote, which was the one that was about conversations I've been having with my son since he was very young. When I became a mom, it was not something that I was eager to do or I yearned to do. I was married. I was finishing undergrad. I had this whole career planned out for my life. Having children was never something that was even on my top 10 list. I said, one day I'll get to it, but I had this whole thing planned out for my life. And then I got pregnant with my son, and I had to stop school, move to where my husband lived, which was away from my, Brooklyn, New York is where I grew up. So it was away from there. And I moved to Maryland, and my husband had to work a lot because he had just become a police officer. And the only person I had to live with before my son was born was me. And let me tell you, all the trauma, all the mental health issues I've had for years, and I talk about that freely now, descended on me. And I found myself in a really, really not so great space. Had Julius, that's my son's name, who's now a teenager. He's now 17. And struggle with postpartum depression, which is something that lots of women, but especially Black women, struggle with. And we don't talk about that enough in our community. And so here I was, a young mother. I was 24, I believe, when I had my son. And I was alone in a strange place, and I was suffering with my mental health. And it took me a very long time to get the help I needed. And what I would do is I would have conversations with my son. And as he got older, we would talk. And so this book was birthed out of the real conviction that there's another woman out there. There's another Jamaican woman out there who's had or who has had the same experiences I have, and she feels like she's the only one, and she feels either guilt, because I feel a lot of guilt, or she has not been able to overcome her challenges.
Right.
And so that first book came out of really trying to reframe motherhood, because for some of us, it is not something that we're happy to do. It is not something we have a cute little baby. Oh my goodness. A lot of us struggle with being mothers.
Right.
A lot of us Black mothers struggle. We struggle with being able to nurse. We struggle with connecting. We struggle with, we have to get back to work because we're a 2-income household. We struggle with so much, right?
Yeah.
The second book was birthed out of my experience as a Black police wife, which is very different than being the wife of a white police wife. It's very, very different. And so the book was written, me and several other women of color, and really just talking about what our experience has been being police wives. We lived through the Baltimore riots. The last several years with the uptick of Black Lives Matter. And all these deaths related to police, and then all these changes to policing, and trying to get both sides to the table. We were left at home to deal with all the backlash and we had wives, they're getting threatened, they're being followed, properties being damaged, all because of what my husband wore.
Right.
Our husbands wear, right? And so in the midst of all that, we know that racism exists.
Right.
We know some of us have had to deal with it in our lives as well. And so we're really trying to walk this line off. Our husbands are police officers, and they're amazing police officers, and there are good cops. And yes, there needs to be accountability and transparency, and we're against police brutality. But we also have a Black experience that kind of mirrors that. And sometimes there's just not a friend told me the other day, you're not looking for balance. You're looking for what was the word she used? I hope I remember it. But there really can never truly be a balance. You look for a way for every aspect of your life to work together. So those two books came out of my desire to speak to a woman like me, who's had the same experiences, something she can identify with, and encourage her and motivate her.
And as you express all of that, there's no question that culture is in the backdrop.
Oh, yeah.
How you are brought up,
yes,
how women are seen in your family and the community that you are a part of. Let's talk about that a little bit and how that relates to some of the challenges that we possibly feel. You talk about mental health issues. Let's go down that road a little bit.
You sure? You sure I'll go down there? So I'm from a very Jamaican family. I was born in St. Mary, but I don't claim St. Mary. I claim Westmoreland because my grandmother raised me in Pittsfield until I migrated to this country. So very Jamaican family. We know that Jamaican culture is very patriarchal.
Yeah.
The men are very strong, stubborn, and they're very macho, right? And one of the things we know right now, one of the issues that's happening in Jamaica now is the value of women and what is happening with women and girls, especially when it comes to violence. So I grew up in a family that very much was very Jamaican. You know, the woman served dinner, you make sure the house is taken care of, you make sure you take care of your man. Like this very, very much a Jamaican household. Mental health was not something that was talked about. It was, and if it was talked about, it was very much in a condescending way or a way to make you feel as though something was wrong with you. It was not something, so you couldn't, I'm feeling down, I'm feeling depressed. We also grew up in a very Christian home. And so on top of being Jamaican and all the things that come in that culture, you layer on this faith belief as though faith and wellness don't go hand in hand. And as you get more mature and you heal, you realize you cannot be whole in faith. A sound mind means something, right? And so your faith and your mental health, you have to be connected. And so I grew up for most of my life. I knew something was wrong. I live with depression and anxiety, and I've had panic attacks, right? I knew something was wrong, but I was told you need to pray, you need to have more faith. And as little as I was, I tried to muster up as much faith as I could. I cannot tell you how many times I went to the altar and got saved just to make sure that God knew that I was one of His kids, and
Yeah.
so
your mustard seed was what
my
multiplied.
mustard seed was, I was trying, Donovan. I was trying real hard. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s, so 20-something years, living with knowing something's wrong, not knowing how to fix it, but because of culture, because of how culture looks at mental health, you don't want to be the mad gal for the family, right?
Yeah.
Something to your head knock, right? All those things that you hear that don't sound like what I want to be. So you stay quiet and you suffer, because that's what it was. You suffer in silence for so long. Right. So we have the whole mental health piece. Then we have the whole piece around abusive women,
right?
Which I'm raising a son, and let me tell you, that's been something that's we've had lots of conversations about respecting women. I don't care if the woman's walking down the street with no clothes on.
Yeah.
There's a respect that is given, even if the minimum is because human life, right?
Right.
And so culturally, what we have is a country that I love so much. I love my home country, but it grieves me when I know that Jamaican women, that could be me, my aunt, my grandmother, whatever, are dying at the hands of their own men. Right? Like that just, it makes me extremely sad, but it grieves me as well. That they're being beaten, they're being raped, they're being killed, they're being assaulted. Instead of men being the protectors, being the providers, being the ones who are ensuring that children and women are protected in the community, they become the predators of their own community. That's tough as a Jamaican woman. I'm not living in Jamaica, but it's just tough because I'm not living in Jamaica. I still don't consider myself not one of them, not a Jamaican woman. Like, how can I not be bothered by that, right? And so I think we have these cultural, that's just two. We have economics. We have access to food, access to healthcare. Everyone talk about the access to healthcare, when it comes to Jamaica, much as other parts of the world, and Black women who are dying in childbirth. We have the highest rates of dying in childbirth, right? We have chronic illnesses that we experience. So you put all those things together, and to be a Black woman is, the word phenomenal, I don't think does it justice.
Right.
There is a fortitude, there is a resilience, there is a power that comes with that role because of what you have to live. Because of what you have to live through and experience in order to have any type of life. Like you can't be anything else but just being alive and thriving, right?
Yeah.
So really, for me, those I talk about the issues that affect Black women that I'm most passionate about, and violence against women and mental health are my two.
Let's extend that a little bit, though, because you mentioned two important things. You talked about your son, Julius, and the things you try to instill in him, but you talk about some of the things that are happening against our women. And do our men get it? As if we look at our Black men, if we look at what the sisters are looking for, and the journey, because some of these things have been going on for a while. Do they get it? I see you shaking your head. And why don't they?
Oh boy, no, they do not get it. And I just made 19 years married, and I can say that I have been absolutely blessed with a man who, except for the normal annoyances that y'all have, normal stuff that men do that's annoying. He has been a provider and someone who's been very supportive. Like, my husband's the type of person, he has never blocked my shine. And sometimes he celebrates my wins more than me, right? But I have seen in my family and within my friend network, I've seen with the women I work in Jamaica that they don't have that in the men. And a lot of it is one culture, but it's also upbringing, right? It's also upbringing. Children are born blank slates. We imprint on them, culture imprints on them, parenting, school, imprint on kids. Some of these things that happen over and over and over and over again. Well, everything that happens over and over and over again in culture. So for me, I think the work begins with parents who are raising boys. And when people on here, but what about girls? When I talk about girls right now, Mr. Donovan asked me about boys. So we're going to talk about boys, right? So I think it begins with, there needs to be a real effort and a real kind of revolutionary work that's being done with parents who are raising boys. Because, and I don't care what anyone will say, this is just globally, when it comes to violence, males, right? There's a common denominator there. So it's not just when they're 25 or 30, having 10, having 12-year-olds. So it has to start from where you're coming from, whether it's home or what, even if you're in the foster care system, whatever it is that kind of feeds your upbringing. I feel like that's where it needs to go back to. That's where the real work needs to begin. It's one with parenting, and then I think two, addressing what happens culturally. In lots of cultures, the consequence for hurting a woman is not very big. So the value that's placed on women is not very, and it's not just Jamaica, just lots of cultures. Around. I think for Jamaica, who is a Christian country, I think understanding when the Bible talks about loving your wife as Christ loves the church, right? There's a very specific relationship there's a specific relationship that happens, a specific kind of love that happens there, right? The conversation around submission, right? A woman easily submits to a man who loves and cares for her, right? That's why, for those who are of a biblical persuasion, it talks about love your wife, like Christ loves the church, wives submit to your husbands, right? There is a connection there between the two. So I think for Jamaica, who is a predominantly Christian country, I think really looking at culture and looking at how are we raising our boys into men to understand what it means to care and love for a woman. Right. And if we are saying we're a country that's predominantly Christian, really, what does that look like? How are we reflecting that in the way that we train and raise our boys to become men? So for me, it's those two. I think it really needs to go back to parents who are raising boys. I own it. Right. As a family who's raising a boy, next generation. And I think also culturally looking at some of the things that feed the violence, feed the disregard for women, feed the dominance of men. Look at those things and make real efforts to change them.
But it's not part of the challenge that we continue to face, though, in terms of what I'm going to call it, the system continues to feed. So if I look, I have daughters, and I'm thinking, what is the system creating in terms of the men? Is it another round of challenges? Because we still seem to have those practices and perceptions dominating our society, which amplifies and continue to keep, this conversation top of mind. So where's the hope for our women conquering some of these challenges?
I think is one, continuing to force our way into spaces and amplifying our voices. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of activism. And although I'm not necessarily a marcher or someone who will testify in front of Parliament or Congress, there are women that do. So I think that really putting our concerted effort behind amplifying the voices of women, especially Black women, and we're talking about Black women tonight, so amplifying the voices of Black women in spaces where they're not heard. I think it's really important. I think it's going to take men to dismantle this system of patriarchy that exists, because they're the ones that benefit from it. Women are not going to be the ones who are going to be able to do that. It's going to have to be men saying, you know what, there's a problem here. This is not okay. You're saying I have daughters, I have nieces, like come on, other men in the community, we got to do something about this. This is not okay. So I think it's also going to take men stepping up and saying, we benefit from this. This is not okay. We need to work on dismantling this, coming to the table together and figure out what is a society we both can live in. Now we know I'm talking dreams, right? Because we know on a large scale in both our lifetimes that may never happen. But I think it can begin to happen in small communities. It can begin to happen in churches, in schools, in PTAs, in these small community groups that exist, affinity groups that exist of people. Change can begin in those small spaces, and then it will begin to spread, right? And so if I can encourage anyone who's listening to this, where do we start? But what do we do? How do we maintain hope? Mustard seed. This small. Hope doesn't have to be big at all. But I think we start by taking responsibility for how we benefit from a system that mistreats another.
Right.
So whether it's race, gender, ethnicity, whatever the case is. Look at how we benefit from that and do our part to change that. And it may just be in our home. Where do my husband and I making a diligent effort so that this young man that we're raising does not add to, your daughter's issues, abuse, or whatever the case is, right? We have one son. But if my friend who has another son, my friend who's another son, if we all make that concerted effort to say we're just going to raise our boys differently, we don't know how we're going to figure out how raise our boys differently. I think it really starts there. That mustard effort of we see this issue, how can we address it, and just being diligent in doing it and addressing it.
Here's another perspective, and this one might be a little controversial. Is it likely that some of the challenges that we face are the women are facing are self-inflicted, and that the sisters are not necessarily supporting the sisters, and then they point over at the brothers and say, boy, do something.
Oh, Donovan, so that's where you're going tonight. This time of night? You start some trouble this time of night. Okay. So, there are aspects of personality traits of a Black woman that we got to take ownership of, right? And there are some times with some of us, we may not be as open or receptive to working together with our men. And I don't want to say independent, because there's really nothing wrong with being independent, right? So I think that there are things, and these are personal choices that we each make in our lives that I think we take responsibility for. I think that if we are raising sons, that's a place as a mother, and I'm speaking for myself, I can take responsibility for some of the issues that continue through generations, right? The idea that sisterhood is dead is a myth. And I will say that because I was like that for a very long time. And then I moved to Baltimore, and I had this attitude that I was not going to connect with any other Black woman because it's always some drama. But let me tell you, since I've been here, my son will be 17, so I've been here 18 years. And some of my biggest cheerleaders, some of the women who've motivated me the most, some of the women who I've seen fight the hardest for me have been Black women.
Right.
And so I think a part of taking ownership of who you are as a Black woman, working on the areas of your life that need working, a part of that is making sure you're connected to the right tribe.
Right.
Because I'm not meant to be friends with every Black woman. We're just not, right? Because we have personalities, etc. But for each of us, we're human beings. We're meant to connect. There's a group that belongs to us. So I think part of personal responsibility is really having that self-reflection to say, when something happens, what did I contribute to this? Whether it's your relationship, a partnership, a job, whatever the case is. I think sometimes, and this is not just women, I think this is human beings.
Right.
We do not like to take responsibility and be held accountable for our own behavior. And it's easy to say, well, I did this because he said that, or because he's not doing that.
Right.
Right? When we are responsible for our own actions and our own behavior. Right?
And what you said, connect to the right tribe.
And connect to the right, and that may also mean the right partner as well, right? All those things or choices that we make. We make all those choices.
And I like that, because where I want to go, and it's not to create trouble on a Friday night, is to when we look at challenges and we talk about solution, women's labor and all kind of movements have been around for a long time, right? And here we are still having some of these conversations. And that's why I want to dive into, where is the hope, and how do our sisters connect with the problem to say, okay, here is how I solve this for me, and then create some kind of concentric circle that helps others, right? And connecting to the right tribe maybe is the big sentence that we take out of this conversation, right? Because if you don't, there are many people who seem to accept the state they're in, accept the place they're in, and don't move, right? And you can't help them.
Right? And then that's true. And that's really men and women, right? We become comfortable. We're not connected to the right people. But I also think, besides connecting to the right tribe, Donovan, you can't connect to the right tribe if there's no level of self-responsibility and accountability on your own self, right? Because as I said before, there are choices that we each make in our lives, and each choice we make, I always tell my son, each choice you make is a seed you've planted. This seed, you may harvest it tomorrow because it's a fast-growing seed, because you made, you went to school and you cheated on a test. You planted that seed, you're gonna get immediate reaping of that harvest. You may plant a seed, it's little lies, and you may not reap it until time has passed, right? So being able to understand that you are responsible for your actions and your behavior, and the outcome of your life is a series of decisions that you have made. Now, some of them may have been impacted by others. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that in some, we're not talking about extreme situations. I'm talking about day to day. And this is how I started growing. When I realized that my happiness, the issues I had with myself, issues I had with my husband, had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with me. Right. And me doing the work to fully become a healthy, healed woman who could have a healthy, healed relationship and raise a healthy son. But I had to stop pointing at him and saying, what he wasn't doing. We used to go to counseling. All I kept talking about was what he wasn't doing. Right. And I could not accept, well, Rachel, no. We have to, I do this because he does this. I do this. No. Rachel, you make a choice when you do certain things. If he says up and your response is down, you're making a choice to say down, because you can not answer, or you can say up to, right? So I think it's twofold for the Black woman community. I think on one hand, it's your tribe is out there, find them. It's amazing when you have. I will tell you, it's amazing when you have. And I think the second part is that we may not want to talk about a lot. There has to be some self-responsibility and accountability for some of the choices that we've made, from men to how we've raised our kids to all these other things. And we have to own that. We have to say, this is a choice I made and a consequence that came out of that choice.
Right? That's a challenge that you want to keep having. Stop choose the wrong men, stop choose the wrong places, stop choose the wrong vibes and the wrong company. Pick a good tribe and accept responsibility for picking that tribe. Listen, the clock is ticking and time is going, but there's a question that came in the chat that I want to throw at you. It says, how do you talk to your son about dealing with the police, even though his dad is a cop?
Oh my goodness, that is a really, really good question. And I'm going to tell a story really quick because I know time is ticking. So since Julius has become a teenager, I would say the last 3 years have been hard. I'll be honest. It's been hard to navigate being a police family and talking to our teenage son who has access to social media. He has friends he talks, but he's just become more aware, right? And so I remember when the first time my son went out with friends, my husband had a talk with him. And I sat and I listened, and from take your hoodie off to take your hands out your pocket to just because you see your friends doing X, Y, and Z doesn't mean that you're gonna, you do it because you're the only Black boy that's there. If the cops approach you, keep your hands where they can see it. Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm just, my heart was so sad because not that I never realized we're a Black family, because I did. I guess I was hoping above all hopes that like we didn't have to have that conversation with him about that. But my husband, who's a cop, had to sit him down and have all those conversations about what to do when you interact with a police officer. And it wasn't to scare him. My husband told him it's not to scare you. This is just a reality of what we're, I'm not the officer who's going to answer the call. It's not one of my friends. It's not somebody you know. You don't know what information the cop has. You don't know what interactions he's had with this particular facility. You don't know what mood he's in. You don't know any of that. And so just to get you home safe, hands out of your pocket. Don't be lipping off and talking back. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like those types of things. So for us, we've had to have the same conversations that happen in Black families across this country.
Right.
So we've had to have that. But we've also had conversations about, and I know there are going to be folks who are like, oh, we know not all cops are bad. Not all of them are. A matter of fact, most of them aren't. Most of them aren't bad. But like I tell Julius, you don't know which one you're going to get.
Right.
Stopped, right? You don't know. And so that's where the difficulty comes once again in advocacy, because we know that we want police accountability and transparency, and we don't want police brutality and police profiling at all. It's not good for our husbands and wives, and it's not good for the community. Nobody wins. Like the community wants to get home safe. The cop wants to get home safe. Right? You have the same interest. So we got to come to the table and figure this out, right? And so we have that conversation with Julius. He's become more hyper vigilant now. Like honestly, he wants to go to fewer like cop events with his dad. I used to go to them all the time, like a barbecue or whatever. And not because he's older and he's trying to navigate what's on social media is true, what's not true. How do I feel? He's trying to navigate all this stuff that's happening. So we just have open and honest conversations with Julius. We talked to him about when George Floyd happened. We talked to him about when it was Sandra Bland. We talked to him about, all these Breonna Taylor. Like we had all these conversations about all these incidences that happened. And as a police family, we have to. It's our responsibility to sit with our kids and really sort through truth from not truth. When you hear a story, investigate. Here are some questions you need to ask. You may not be comfortable on both sides, right? So for us, we have to be brutally honest with our son because we're a Black and blue family.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks for answering that. All right, listen, the clock says time to go. This has been an awesome discussion, Rachel, and maybe the one line I take away, and hopefully everybody takes away a line, is pick the right tribe. Folks, whether you're a Black woman and facing challenges, and we all face challenges, male, female, whatever gender you identify by, as we celebrate Black History Month, the message that Rachel, who is, achieved many, many things. Check her out on Facebook and Instagram and all over the place. Check out her books. Right? Sounds like some stories that could benefit some of us. Rachel, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks a lot for sharing. I appreciate that you're a part of Gwaan with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Awesome discussion as we celebrate Black History Month. We have to hear what the ladies are, not Black History Month, International Women's Month, right? International Women's Day, Women's Month. Lots of things. Let me bring Shadrach in. And brethren, lady have a lot to say, not true?
I'm telling you, challenges of being a Black woman, brother. I'm telling you. I'm really thankful. Thank you very much, Rachel, for joining us today. Really, that was very insightful and very punctual to see it from your point of view police family, which is
Yeah,
we never really get a chance to really see that. A lot. I mean, must be difficult too, also, right?
as a black woman, yeah, you have to fret about your husband to the truth.
Yeah, of course, because he's still a man, right? And he's still a police officer, and he's still her husband. So, thank you very much for that. Rachel said, she's so a couple of things she said that resonated with me. Like you said, find your tribe.
Yeah,
Find the tribe. Out there in the world out there, you have to find the tribe, right?
that's true, man. But that's true, my mother used to talk about bad company.
Yeah.
Right. And for years she drilled in our heads, choose your company. She used to have like a thing that says, show me your company, I tell you who you are. Right.
Well, we spoke earlier about raising boys, and I'm telling you, my mother single mother from a single family, and my mother make sure she put me right in the right place to stay in the right. I don't know what happened. I don't know. For me, I don't know where it gets so out of hand, because I used to remember back in the days in Jamaica where if you do something on the street, somebody go scold you, and before you reach home, the story reach to your mother or your granny, and you go get another scolding again,
Get a brother beaten.
And the brother beaten, you say good morning and good afternoon, and you have respect, especially, you respect women, we
Yeah, for sure respect.
And right. I would like to say really on the half of all the man, Jamaican man. Remember, Jamaica is a country that have had a woman prime minister, right? I mean, so everybody says Jamaica is patriarchal, but it's not just a patriarchal country. The woman is strong in our culture. If you see in reggae music, dancehall music, where we're in it, you have some strong women. The women are like forefront right now.
Run the thing now.
Exactly, Spice and Shensia, and so
coffee.
So in our culture, we push woman forward. In our culture, we support a woman. And this is a real Jamaican thing where we know the Jamaican man from our foundation, the roots man.
We have some good one, but some of the man them outly still Shadrach, and them treat the woman them horrible.
Don't know
some of the things
that
have been perpetuated are horrible. And there's a lot of learning, I think, that we still have to go through in terms of respecting, showing the kind of care and appreciation and understanding. And I read something this week, and maybe this is what I'll depart with. If we can just pause and listen to our women, we would have possibly done them one of the biggest points of favor and respect. Totally. The man them can pause and just listen. We possibly have done the greatest favor and respect as we say, big up to the woman. All right, I'm going to back off and leave you because, time will take a All right, brother.
Okay, see you in a bit. Good. Yeah, thank you very much. Donovan, that was a beautiful speech, in conversation just now. Actually, it was very, very touching. Thank you very much, Rachel Barrett-Dolcine, for that. That was absolutely beautiful. Challenges of being a black woman here and anywhere in and around the globe. We see it from her point of view, her perspective. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Before we make it too late, we're going to the Patois word of the day. All right. The Patois word of the day is brata. All right. So at the rate we're going tonight, it seems like we're going to get some brata minute, or some minutes overtime brata. That's the word of the day. Make sure you if you can make a sentence from the word brata, write it on the screen. Send us a link. Share it. Join us. Stay with us. Tweet us. Everything we're here to make you know what are going on in our community, in our diaspora. It's like Donovan said, the time is clicking. All right. So it's all about next week and what are going on. I have all my very good friend Adley Cole on mental health and importance of self-care. You have Camille Hannes King. I hope I said that correctly. And the topic next week is mental health and importance of self-care. My very good friend Adley Cole is going to be here next week. I'm so looking forward to be a part of this what we have next week. And maybe we should call back Brother Donovan on the screen because we want to know. I can't see the comments from here. Yes, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you follow us, all right? make it a date and don't be late. And our website also, go over there and check out the website. Go see some of, see the team. Go see the team. All right, tell them to Shadrach send there. No, don't be afraid. Okay. Let me see if Mr. Dalaman here can hear me to help me read some of these comments online, because I can't really see them from here.
Yeah, we have a few of them. So, you know, Karine Thompson say, yeah, so true. Pick the right tribe. Show me a company, I tell you who are, Jamaicans would say, right? So that's a good one. Nicole,
Thank you, Karine.
I think.
Thank you.
We have a few comments that we want to share. Right? Sean Miller said, great discussion. Right?
Bless up, Sean.
Nick Johnson said, we need to raise our children as proud yet humble and compassionate individuals.
I agree with you, sister.
Right? Bob Hollis was on and said, great book about being a police wife, you know. Lots of great comments. Right? Of course, some people talk about, well,
somebody teach me brata. Me see him feeling Bombay. Leo, hey! You mean to say Bombay? Maybe a Bombay, Leo, if you say Bombay.
Right. Lots of good comments, you know. Lots of good comments. Right. So there we go. Lots of comments, and everybody who entered their comments will get into the draw for the program. We also want to, Shadrach, you mention this one. Send in your videos, folks. I'm actually going to play one, right? Send in your videos. Yes. Watch.
I live in the UK and I enjoy tuning in to What's Gwaan, being entertained and educated by issues affecting Jamaicans at home and abroad. What's Gwaan to me is like the difference between eating ackee and saltfish made from ackee in the tin and having ackee and saltfish made from the freshly picked ackee from the tree. It is packed with flavor. I look forward to the Patwa word of the day, feeding my nostalgic mood with flavor and spice only Jamaicans can deliver.
I said yesterday I cook some food and give me neighbor. And the food sweet me neighbor so much and come back for brata. So that's my brata interpretation for the day. Okay, so brata means a little bit extra. Can I have a little bit extra? Like in a baker's dozen, you have 13 in a baker's dozen. So the one is the brata. So when you go buy some cocoa market, you buy buy half dozen cocoa, and the farmer give you one more, the farmer give you brata, all right? So that's the brata, that's the pata word of the day, brata, all right? So remember, stay with us, follow us, okay? Make sure you go over there, like us, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It's all about What Gwaan. Go check us out, check out our website, make it a date, and don't be late. And thank you very much for joining us this week on another beautiful episode of What Gwaan. Make it a date next time, same place, same hour. We're gonna be here, myself, Donovan, and the whole What Gwaan team. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful night, ladies and gentlemen. Mwah. Love you. Walk safe at that Gwaan. Donovan.
Yo, this is King Shadrach.